You only have one life to live. Make sure today live your best one. Love with all you got. Laugh and go to your favorite spots. Mama B's living life crew. I invite you to live it up too. Mama B's living life crew. Let's live it up, live it up.
Hello guys, how's my YouTube family, my living life crew? Today's video is sad. So last Monday I received a call and I seen the area code, so I thought, it was my brother calling me. Instead, I found out that it was a friend of his calling to say that they had found him dead in his house. This is a feeling that I just can't get over. The thought of him dying there alone in this house. It's like the worst to me. It's like broken in something in me that I just can't figure out. I'm still trying to put together. So, well, let me just tell you a little bit about him. He was my older brother, and actually my grandmother raised him, and then it was me and my younger brother and my baby sister with my mom. So he went to high school, and then he left for college, and he moved to Erie, Pennsylvania. And after that, we really didn't see him that much. He was kind of really private, loner type guy, and he really didn't stay in touch. There were years before I could even get in touch with him. When I finally did get in touch with him, we talked, we caught up. And then it was maybe 10 years before I seen him or talked to him again. And that time was when my grandmother died. And he came back to Pennsylvania. Well, came back to Chester, the town we lived in, for my grandmother's funeral. And we all, got together then. And then after the funeral was over, everybody went home. He went back home, and I didn't hear from him again for maybe another 7-8 years. And then I found him on Facebook. So I was talking to him back and forth on Facebook. I would write him on Messenger. Sometimes he would write back, sometimes not. And then I had got his phone number. So I would call him, here and there, and sometimes he wouldn't answer. And then I messaged him because a friend of ours, a close friend of ours from childhood, had died. So I messaged him to please call me back. And then I told him about that and the funeral arrangements and all that. And he didn't end up, coming down for that, but I did talk to him. So then after that, the year before last, we went to Ohio. And I said, okay, let's see how close this is to Chucky, where Chucky lives, because he lived in Erie, Pennsylvania. And it was like an hour and 5 minutes. So I said, let's drive over. So I called him up and told him we were going to be going to Ohio, and that, we were going to come by. So he said, okay. And so we did. We went over, and we took him out to eat. We all went and hung out for a while. Then we went back to his place and, kicked it and talked and reminisced and had a really good time. And like I said, that was the year before last. I have talked to him on Facebook a little bit since then, and then after that he kind of disappeared on Facebook. I wrote him on Messenger and never got no responses back. So I wasn't really too shocked because, this is always how it's been with him, and I didn't want to feel like I was bothering him, but thinking about it now, maybe I should have pushed a little harder, because, it's really sad to think of him being there alone. And, it when they found him, they said he had been in there dead between 3 days and the 2 weeks. They had no exact pinpoint time of how long he had been in there. And I guess they started smelling it, the neighbors smelling the smell, and that's who called. And actually, the owner was selling the house, so a realtor was scheduled to go there that day. And I guess he came, and I don't know whether he ever went in or, because he has one of those lock boxes that the owner probably gave him, the code to. And I don't know if once he got to the door, he could smell it or whatever, but they ended up calling the cops. And then the cops came and they had found his body in there. And so I went up there, that was Monday when they called me. I went up there Wednesday and trying to, figure out everything. So then I finally called the coroner, and they were cremating the body that day because nobody had got in touch. I didn't know, by the time they told me, it was already in the works. So they cremated the body. And he told me it would be, their property, that they would sprinkle their ashes in, their designated cemeteries or whatever. So it was really nothing I could do. That made it so much harder. But I don't know what I'm really feeling, whether I'm feeling somewhat guilty because I didn't push myself to keep trying to stay in touch with him more than he did with me, But I don't know what when you feel like you call somebody and they don't answer, or they never try to call you, and, they don't want to be bothered, But now I'm feeling that I shouldn't have just let it go that way, But one thing I am glad about is that I did go there the year before last and did get to see him. So guys, I just want to say, if you have family, try to stay as close as you can to them. Even when you feel like they don't want to be bothered, still call and try to stay in touch with them. Because this is the worst feeling in the world right now, and I just can't shake it. But I know with God I'll be all right, But yeah, so I said, well, I still want to do something, so I scheduled a memorial service that's going to be this coming Saturday. So I'll be going back up to Erie for the memorial service. And I guess that's going to be it. But again, like I said, if you have family, try to stay as close as you can to them. Stay in touch. Even if they feel like they don't want to be bothered, still keep calling and calling anyway. Alright, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Mwah.